Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Inside Artesian Football here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head coach Carter Whitson. Got a lot to talk about on this week's show, so we'll get right into it. Highlights from the game last week against Guerin Catholic and previewing the Bloomington South Panthers. Coach, you guys start up on Friday. You come up a little bit short, 13-11, but a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of effort, a lot of energy there in the contest against Guerin Catholic.
You just said 3 E's right there, and we didn't even plan this out, but you said effort, enthusiasm, excitement. The 1 E that we lacked was execution. As a coaching staff, as players, we just didn't do the little things right, and we've talked about that and really stressed it this week to get those little things done right, and it'll equal out to big things.
I know we read in the paper afterwards where you talked about, hey, that's on me. When we get down into the red zone, we got to get into the red zone. How difficult was it for you? It's your first chance really in a game type situation to calling game and calling the plays and things. That's a learning experience for you as well.
It really was, and I think overall as a staff we have a big improvement to make from week 1 to week 2. Someone told me once your team will make a bigger improvement in between week 1 and 2 than they will all year, and I think we need to do that as a staff too. We were close. I told them at halftime, I said, we got more yards than anybody in the state, but we got to score. We got to finish some of these drives. And a little bit of that was on me, and then a little bit of that, you go back and watch some film, and there's some execution, there's some plays to be made there. But we're close. We took it as a positive as much as you can take a loss as a positive because we're on the right track.
When you looked at it, we talked a lot about the offense, and that's what we thought coming in. You guys moved the ball. Like you said, you just couldn't get it in the end zone. I think there were maybe 3 passes that were dropped that were potential touchdowns as well. That also, so you could have been looking at a lot of those points that we talked about being scored. But really, the story to me of the game was the defense. Man, they came out and played well. They
really, really did. I was extremely proud of them. I knew that defensive staff was going to bring a new fire to those guys, and our kids have really responded. They played their tails off. I mean, they were flying around, making plays, creating turnovers. Gave up 1 big play early, gave up another big run. I thought, speaking of that big run, I thought that was the play of the game with Seth Gallion chasing that kid down and making him snap it again. We held him to a field goal there instead of giving up a touchdown and gave us a chance to win. So extremely proud of our defense. I know they've got a big challenge this week. Need to make sure that they're not overconfident with their previous performance, but they're going to be all right.
Really on the field, you could see the Artesians, a different look Artesian team. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the contest on Friday night against the Guerin Catholic Golden Eagles. We'll start off right with the defense, or the offensive set here.
Offensively getting in our spread sets, do a good job of throwing the ball downfield, but also hitting our check downs to our tailbacks. They did a great job of making plays after the ball was in their hands. Great protection. We had to rotate some O-linemen all night because of some cramping issues, but I thought they played really, really well. Jackson Kleesner cramped up a bunch, but I think he had 12 knockdown blocks in the 40 snaps that he played, which is extremely impressive. Great timing, great throw right there by Travis Griffey to Corbin Williams. Actually, that was Andy Myers right there. Right? Those guys can sub in. There's no such thing as a starter on our offense. We got 1s and 2s that can go play. This play right here, there's a prime example of execution. If we get that blocked absolutely correct, we score on it. So then our defense comes in. Our defense harassed that quarterback all night. Our 2 defensive ends really made some great plays, but they didn't do it by themselves. They had good pressure up the middle by our 2 interior D linemen, and then the coverage was pretty stellar. Here's us a little play action pass right here to Matt Thomas. Matt had a great game. I thought Travis Griffey in his first start played extremely well. He didn't have any turnovers, and I was just really, really pleased with him. He's going to have a big year.
Darius Stillman also coming up off the bottom of the pile on that.
Yep. Another check down right there to our running backs. You think about wide receivers catching all the balls. all the passes, downfield, but really our tailbacks play a huge part in our passing game. That's a very consistent theme right there. You got about 7 or 8 guys making the tackle, gang tackling. That's what we really need to do. It's a great play by our guys chasing down the reverse. Garrett Miles with a huge play right there, stepping up as a cornerback, making a tackle.
He did a really nice job on that as well, and you'll see another great defensive play here.
Awesome play by Andy Myers recovering to make this interception. I challenged our defense to go score whenever they get the ball in their hands. So great coverage by the corner, and Andy made a good play adjusting to biting on the play action and then backing up and getting that interception, a little bingo. Good play right here by Matt, hard catch. Really wasn't a fan of the call, thought it should have been targeting just for safety protection, but we'll continue to work on that.
We don't follow this very well, but it's a good
No,
catch.
it was a little double move to Darius Stillman, get him out in the open field. He is an explosive player. The more we can get him the ball, the better we're going to be. There's Seth Gallion. Seth playing both sides of the ball, playing corner, playing some wide receiver, catching some screen passes right there. Really good blocking down the field. You'll look at our passing attack, and people think it's all the way down the field a lot. Sometimes it's quick stuff, getting them out in the open. Very fortunate right there, Michael Hopple with a little tip catch. And now we're close, man. This is where we really struggled. We're getting down there. We're getting tackled on the one. We just need a little bit more execution to get some points on the board, not just yards. Little run-pass option right there. Our kid's doing a good job of selling the run and then being able to hit it out in the open. Good run right there. I think that was Billy Bias. Our tailbacks played well, took care of the ball. Was very happy with them.
And this is the start of a huge defensive stand late in that first half of play.
A huge start. Yep. I mean, huge part of our defense is stopping the run, and they did a great job the other night. They'll have another big challenge this week. You could say all the names you want, but they don't really care who gets the credit. It's all about those 11 making plays, getting points right there. I didn't think our first points of the year would be a safety, but I was excited either way. Great effort right there, finishing with the ball in his hand by Isaac Osborne. See us getting the ball back to the ref and playing fast. There it is again. Tackles for loss with 7 or 8 guys making the tackle, not just one. Big time play right there by the defensive end. I thought they both played well. Played a lot of snaps with Chase Havlin and Ben Marino, and I thought they had a great motor and really made some big time plays.
Those were the opening 3 plays of the second half. I saw Ben on Saturday at the Junior League football games and asked him what was said at halftime that they got. He said they were inspired a little bit.
It was a negative. It was not a negative halftime. It was a guys, we're close. Defense, keep playing your tails off. Offensively, let's just go finish some drives. They came back ready to play. I'll never question our kids' effort or willingness to do the right things to win. So we just got to continue to get a little bit better.
He also credited the coaches, said that they made a few tweaks at halftime on what they wanted to do to allow them to get some of those stops.
It's a big part of our halftime. We've got that 20 minutes to where we really need to look at some things that happen in the first half and how can we adjust. It's a good testament to Coach McKinney and Coach Mosgrip and Trump.
And the defense, again, continuing to make plays. I think here another turnover coming up.
That's right. They try to throw a screen on us right there, and we're all over the quarterback where he's uncomfortable. He throws it out of control. Izzy Elliott with the interception. Again, I've challenged those guys to go score when they get the ball in their hands. Down here tight again. We're on a little reverse to Darius Stillman. Like I said, get him out in the open, and he's dangerous. Jackson Kleesner had a huge block right there. I didn't give him credit for it in the team meeting on Monday, but he had an awesome block knocked down to really get Darius in the end zone. And here it is again. This is something that we need to see consistently all year. We need to play really good defense, and if we play defense like we did last Friday, we'll have a chance to win a lot of football games.
Driving here late again, looking for a go-ahead potential in the third quarter.
Yep, Travis throwing it on time right there to Corbin. Corbin had a great day. You can see some of their guys laying down on the field. We felt like we were in great shape, just a little dehydrated. There's points on the board right there by Caleb. We're still continuing to get better on special teams, but Caleb Urban is a weapon we have to continue to use. It's an awesome job right there. You can't teach it better than that. Sacks, tackles for loss, gang tackle, interceptions. It was a defensive clinic I thought we put on. I was just, disappointed in the few big plays that they did give up because they didn't have to, and then just our lack of execution on scoring points really kind of cost us.
This one right here, I think the last highlight we got coming up. But like you saw on there, a lot of highlights. I was telling you before the show that we haven't had that many highlights. I think it was 7 minutes that we pulled in, and big plays offensively, big gainers, 10, 11, 12, big chunks defensively, just all over the place. Yeah. So overall, the effort, like you said there, just comes down to some of the little things in the contest against Guerin.
That's exactly right, and that was the takeaway we had from it. I told the guys on Saturday I had their Saturday speech already written out, regardless of whether we won or whether we lost, that we were 0-0 after that. 0-0 we got to take every week like it's one game. That's all that matters. Not worry about anything else, not worry about the past, not worry about the future, just 0-0. So our kids have responded.
And in Indiana high school football, you can do that. You're going to play now regardless of whatever when it comes tournament time. So you just need to be playing your best football at the end of the year.
That's exactly right. We have to build to peak after week 9. We made the playoffs already. So it's kind of goofy how Indiana high school does it, but we'll take it. We got to continue to just get better, and be ready to show the state what we got after week 9.
In Oklahoma, when you played, was it you have to play your way in kind of thing?
Yeah, that's right. You have a conference, and about half the teams make the playoffs depending on their record, and they seed it. So if you had a great record, you're the high seed, and you're playing somebody that barely snuck into the playoffs. So very similar to the NFL or the NBA playoffs. So a little bit different, but we're going to take advantage of it and really be ready to peak at week 10.
You've got a game coming up on Friday night. It's the rival with Martinsville anyway, with Bloomington High School South. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of stories about the South Martinsville rivalry.
Yeah, you put it correct. It's a rivalry right now for Martinsville. We got to bring it back to where it's a rivalry for Bloomington South. That's the challenge. I've told these kids, there's a past that is awesome. High school sports rivals are as cool as it gets. And we need to build that back up, and we need to start that Friday because, those guys down there don't respect us. We haven't earned that yet, and that's the challenge this week, to create that rivalry.
Let's talk a little bit about South and what they'll have. Longtime head coach Mo Moriarty's had a lot of success there and wherever he has been with what he does. Maybe a little bit surprising to the state anyway, their result on Friday night with a big loss to a good Brownsburg team. Coach Hart has done a great job wherever he goes as well. But if you look at what South does, what they have, what are we going to see them do on Friday night? Let's start first on the offensive side.
Yeah, well, you talked about it. You talked about Coach Mo, and he's actually a Martinsville guy, and he's a Hall of Famer. He's as good as it gets in the state. He will get those guys to play harder, play better than they did previously. They're a 5A powerhouse that I don't expect to have a down year. They might be playing some young guys right now to continue to get better, but they're gonna bring out their best effort against us just because they're trying to make it not a rivalry anymore. Offensively, they've had a big time running back over the past few years. His dad tweeted out the other day that he's out for 4 weeks, so I bet Coach Mo's not very happy about that because not only us, we don't have to prepare for him, but their next 3 opponents either. So, some of that stuff you need to keep in the locker room. So they're a little disappointed in that. So they've got a younger, smaller running back that can really run, really fast kid that we have to gang tackle. And they're going to try and run the ball. They've got a good senior quarterback that they're going to trust to do some things. They'll have some run-pass options, some stuff that we haven't seen. They really use the tight end well on some bootlegs. So, they're multidimensional. They'll really test our outside linebackers and safeties all game, really, to make sure that their eyes are where they're supposed to be and they're trusting their assignments.
Let's talk a little bit defensively. He's kind of run the same scheme forever. I'm sure we'll see that again on Friday night.
Yeah, they do. They have the ability to go to 4 down D linemen. A lot of the time they're in 3 down D linemen, but really they're walking up 2 other guys to where it's 5 guys playing the defensive line, playing basically cover 0 behind it. not really having a high safety to where they're playing drop back zone. They want to be aggressive and stop the run. And that's why they've had success. That's our motto too, defensively, stop the run, and because that's what you need to do in our conference and in the schedule we play. So we're modeling ourselves a little bit after what they've done in the past, and they're going to emphasize stopping the run and hope that we can't spin it around on them.
Let's talk a little bit about keys, what you guys are going to have to do offensively and defensively if you want to come out with a victory on Friday night.
Well, offensively, I know we talked about the little things, but we have to score. We have to score. You know, it's really hard to shut people down to 13 points in high school football. It is. So I love what our defense did last week, but we need to help them out and we need to score. We need to, we talked about it all week. We need to hydrate. That way we're not cramping up and having guys out. I thought we did a good job of taking care of the ball last week. That's an emphasis that's non-negotiable. We always have to take care of the ball. If we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to win. But just execution and finishing drives with points is all that stopped us last week. And so we got to, focus in on that this week.
Before we get going here today, let's talk a little bit about JV freshmen as well. They played last week. What were some of the results or some things that you saw out of there?
Yeah, JV went up to Guerin Catholic and we're a little bit depleted on depth. Had to play a bunch of guys Friday night, so we couldn't use a bunch of playing time for the kids on Saturday. So we played some guys that haven't had as many reps. From the reports that I got, they played extremely hard. Were in it at the end, needed to make one play, very similar to the night before, and just lacked a little bit of execution. And then our freshman team put on a clinic. I looked at Coach Helms in the middle of the second quarter, and they were up 40-0 or something. I said, "You're calling it Friday night. I need your help." So freshman class is a really good class. They'll continue to see opponents that will test them, but they had a great start. They need to carry that over and continue to build off of that, not just be happy with one win.
All right, so look at the program so far. Friday night coming up at Bloomington South.
Yep, it'll be a good atmosphere. It'll be their home opener. I'm really hoping some people will travel down 37 and get through the traffic. I drive it every day. It's 4 lanes. People, don't be scared of the traffic. Get down there, be early, be loud, get those cowbells going. Wear some gloves so you don't get blisters like my wife did on her hands from the cowbells. So come down and support our kids.
All right, Coach, we'll be there. Good luck on Friday night.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Head Coach Carter Whitson here, Inside Artesian Football, Martinsville. Friday night, it's the rivalry against Bloomington High School South. Get down there and watch the Artesians battle the Panthers. I'd like to thank the head coach, Carter Whitson, for coming in. For Carter, along with the kids in the advanced broadcasting class who produced it here during Artesian Hour, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian Football.